This is where you prove to yourself what kind of person you are. This is where you prove to your teammates what kind of person you are. This is where you prove what kind of heart you got. How much you care. This is not going to be a fun game. It's not going to be. It's going to be in the troughs. It's going to be in the fight. It's going to be in those little scrums. And it's going to be your determination versus theirs. And you got to want it more. Let's go out there. Let's shock a few people, okay? Let's do it again.
Okay, guys, this game matters. When I say Crimson, you say Flyers! Crimson! Flyers! Crimson! Flyers! Crimson! Flyers! Students, are you ready? Yeah!
I hope you go out there today, have a friggin' fantastic tournament today and tomorrow. May the best team win. Respect your opponents, respect your teammates, respect the refs and the organizers, and just have a fantastic tournament. I wish you all the best.
It's up for grabs.
It's really up for grabs. I mean, the top two teams in the region are kind of a given, and then the next however many teams. I mean, for World Cup, the next 4 spots are really, I mean, anyone, like up for anyone.
Sports have always definitely been like an integral part of my life.
Most of the people on my team don't actually know this about me, but when I was like younger and fairly recently, I was a huge Harry Potter fan.
I really enjoyed English growing up. I wanted to be a writer. When I realized that one has to be able to eat in order to write, I decided that I would actually become a teacher so that I could support my writing habit.
If we win our pool, and so that means beating University of Arizona, Stanford, and the Silicon Valley Scroots, we only have to win 1 game in bracket play on Sunday to qualify for the World Cup. So it really comes down to whether or not we win our pool. And if we can play really well, especially against the Scroots, I mean, the Scroots are going to be our main competition, but if we can play really well and win our pool, then qualifying for the World Cup should be a fairly simple process.
Quidditch is a sport invented by J.K. Rowling in the Harry Potter novels. Quidditch was played on flying broomsticks and existed only in books, until recently. Quidditch, as it's played today, follows these rules. A Quidditch team consists of 7 players, 3 chasers, 2 beaters, and a seeker. All players must carry a broom between their legs at all times. The chasers score goals worth 10 points by placing a volleyball, called the quaffle, through one of 3 hoops on either side of the field. The beaters use bludgers, actually dodgeballs, against the other team by knocking out opposing players. Any player hit with a bludger must touch their own goalpost before they can resume play. The seeker's job is to catch the snitch, which is attached to the waistband of a neutral player's shorts. The neutral player, called the snitch runner, can do anything to avoid capture. When the seeker catches the snitch, the game is over, and the seeker's team is awarded 30 points.
So in Quidditch, there are 2 camps. People in one camp are definitely the more athletically minded, competitive Quidditch type people. The other camp, in the Quidditch community, they're referred to as the whimsical group. Quidditch was definitely started and built by the whimsical group. So there's definitely some resistance from the whimsical side because, I mean, they started with the sport and it's kind of their baby, and now it's kind of being commandeered by the more competitive side.
as great as Harry Potter is and as fun as Harry Potter is, it is not, it's timeless in a way, but it's not the kind of novel that people are going to be reading in hundreds of years. It's impossible to keep Quidditch going when it relies on something that is not going to stand the test of time. If Quidditch is going to stand the test of time, it needs to stand on its own, and it needs to not rely on Harry Potter.
So, I mean, we won, but we didn't catch the snitch, which wasn't ideal.
I've actually had to explain this a lot to my coworkers because my coworkers are all like, "You play Quidditch? Is that like that's like a real thing? Like it's like serious?" And I just kind of have to smile and laugh and nod and be like, "Yeah, it's serious. You should come play with us."
It's such a fun sport, and it does have that geek hurdle that you have to get over, namely the broom. You're kind of in this very unique club. You're very, very specific.
It's honestly kind of a little hard sometimes for me to like tell people that I play Quidditch, just because it's like, for the most part, people my age who grew up in that generation that grew up with Harry Potter, when you say you play Quidditch, people are always like, "Oh, that sport from Harry Potter." You tell people about Quidditch and they kind of give you a hard time, they rib you a little bit about it, but like, you know, if they would just come out to a practice or come out to a game, that would be enough to change their opinion about it. So our big game tomorrow is going to be against the Scroots. They're the #1 seed in our pool tomorrow. I am actually really interested to see how that game turns out. Our team's strengths really match well against their weaknesses, but also vice versa.
Don't ask me what went wrong at Western Cup because I will say everything.
The team's kind of lackluster performance at Western Cup was more of a result of lack of experience.
I think we should have done better than we did. I think we would have done better than we did had we not been injured.
We haven't really experienced those kind of losses at all. So, I mean, I think in that way it was good.
So on the flip side of Western Cup, the things that went well definitely included the overall experience. I did score a goal because my goal as a player, since I'm a chaser, my goal is to make a goal. It gave kind of a legitimacy to something that I find really worthwhile. And I recognize the geekiness of it. I recognize that there's some bizarre elements to the sport. But it's helped to show me that, if people are willing to look past, that first impulse, that there's really quite a bit going on in lots of things.
We care so much about Quidditch as a sport, and we want it to be something that stands the test of time, and we want it to be something that people play for years to come.
If Quidditch lasts another 20 years, kids will grow up playing Quidditch, and a few of them will happen to read the Harry Potter books.
So yeah, when it comes to Quidditch, there's a broom. I get that. It's kind of weird, and there can be some very awkward injuries. It's totally understandable. It doesn't matter what the sport is. It's got something that fundamentally that's bizarre. Like, do you know how much we pay grown men to take a stick and swat at a ball about this big? I mean, come on, you one-line any sport and it sounds ludicrous. And Quidditch, just rather than trying to hide behind a swoosh and some sort of corporate sponsorship, Quidditch is just gonna say, you know what? Here it is. You know, come see what else is there. You know, anyone who's really honest with himself and comfortable with himself can look at Quidditch and be like, there's gotta be something real. And for me, that's what life's all about, is figuring out reality.